Smoove is waiting on a new.
This time I'm out of ammo.
Smoove is waiting on a new.
I just put my last 2 bullets into that guy. I don't know where he is. He doesn't know where I am. Oh, there he is. This is my chance for a mean stab in the back. That backstab was mean. That was like when your best friend slept with your girlfriend. And I bet you're not best friends anymore. And I know you're all wondering whether I got jug or not. I mean, juggernauts. What can I say? I have a way with words when I'm
Waiting on a new. Smoove is waiting on a new. Smoove is waiting on a new.
It's another day, another commentary with the AK, taking A, playing with the team, shout out baby. Now I'm headed to B. What do I see? Two news are in front of me. Alright, enough of that BS. Hurricane season is on its way. In about 2 weeks, it'll be back. And we'll be on watch for the rest of the summer, hoping that nothing happens. Hurricane season is definitely a con of living in Florida. But when you compare that to what some other places on Earth have to deal with, I don't think hurricanes are all that bad. For instance, in some places, people have to worry about tornadoes. And what are you going to do when there's a tornado coming down your street, coming right for your house? There's nothing you can really do about that. You can't really plan ahead for tornadoes. Yeah, they'll put out a little tornado warning, but it might be too late at that point. You don't know. Then in some other parts of the planet, you have to worry about earthquakes. And earthquakes are terrible because, again, you can't predict when it's going to happen. And when it happens, who knows what's going to happen? It's crazy. That's not something that I wouldn't want to live somewhere where they had earthquakes, because that's too unpredictable. Too many bad things could happen. I just don't like that. And then in some other parts, you have to worry about volcanoes. That's an eruption waiting to happen. And what about avalanches? And what about places where it snows too much or it's just too cold? I'd take Florida over all those alternatives because the weather is great year round, and actually in the winter is when the weather is the best in Florida. No snow, none of that. It's just nice and pleasant. It's like you're on vacation 365. And out of all of those natural disasters, I'd have to say that hurricanes are probably the safest, the easiest to deal with. And I've been through 10 plus hurricane seasons in Florida, and none of them have really been that bad, except for 1 year in particular, when Hurricane Wilma came through. And I'm pretty sure that Hurricane Wilma happened the same year that Hurricane Katrina hit Louisiana. Hurricane Katrina actually did not touch Florida, it just went straight for Louisiana. But Hurricane Wilma actually came right through our area where I'm living. And that was the first time that we had to experience an inconvenience, because all the other years before that, as a kid, me and everyone at my school, we used to hope, we used to pray. Some people used to pray that hurricanes would come. Because when a hurricane would come, we wouldn't have school for like a day or two. And so kids used to be praying that a hurricane would come so we would get to skip school for a few days. And that's because when hurricanes would come, nothing would really happen. It would just rain a lot. You'd hear a little wind blowing. And to prepare for this storm, all you really had to do was protect your windows. You could either board them up with wood, or if you invested in shutters, you just put your shutters up. And that's just mainly so that your glass doesn't break. Because if your glass breaks while there's a hurricane, then all the wind from the hurricane is going to be inside your house, and it could ruin the roof and all that. So you got to protect your windows. You gotta, of course, make sure you have enough food to survive for about a week or two, just in case the power goes out. So in the last 10 years or so, all the hurricanes have been pretty weak. They have them in categories. A category 5 hurricane is the strongest, and I think Hurricane Wilma, which actually did us some inconvenience, I think Hurricane Wilma was a category 3. But most of the other ones were like category 1 hurricanes, category 2, so they didn't really do much. And the good thing about hurricanes is that you'll know in advance what category it's gonna be. So if you see on the news that there's a hurricane category 5 headed for Florida, then I'm just gonna go take a vacation. I'm gonna go up to New York for a week or so, hang out with some family, and then I'll come back after the aftermath and see what's still here and what's not here. That's what I'll do. So now that you have a basic understanding of hurricanes and how they work, now I'll tell you what happened when Hurricane Wilma came to town. When Hurricane Wilma came to Smoove City. So when Hurricane Wilma hit, we were all prepared. We put the shutters up on our windows. We bought all the food we needed. And then something happened that never happened before. About an hour into the storm, when it was hitting us, our power went out. And that never happened before. All the other hurricanes we've been through, we were still watching DirecTV. We were on the internet. We were just living it up. It's like there's a hurricane and it was like nothing was happening. We were fine, but this time the power went out. And it stayed out. Not for a day, not for 2 days, not for 3 days. It stayed out for about a week and a half. And the hurricane actually did some damage. It knocked over some trees. There were trees blocking the street. Some electrical poles got knocked over. And speaking of trees, our neighbor that lives behind us, their mango tree actually fell over during this storm. And you know my dad wasn't happy about that. Because even though it wasn't our tree, a lot of the branches were falling over into our backyard, so those mangoes were ours, and that tree was done. So after this hurricane, no more mangoes coming from our neighbors. Shout out to BK getting that Moab. And the power was out, and we actually ended up making a new move. We had a generator, but we did not get gas beforehand. We weren't thinking about that. So now that the power was out for a day and it didn't look like it was going to come back for a while, my dad had to go to the gas station to buy gas. And that line was ridiculously long. He was waiting for over maybe 9 hours in line trying to get gas. He was the man of the house. He sacrificed 8-9 hours to get us some gas so that we could get everything back up and running. So when my dad walked through that door, we were back in business. We were watching TV. DirecTV was still working because it's satellite. And if you had cable, if you had Comcast, you had no Comcast until about 2 weeks later because they were all shut down. So I guess when there's that debate going on, what's better, DirecTV versus Comcast or DirecTV versus cable? Well, during a hurricane, DirecTV is better because it won't go down.
Smoove is waiting on me. Smoove is waiting on me. And there he goes again. It's number 4. I'm in a good spot. I can defend B and C at the same time.